Happy Saturday. Who knew that March 18th would be 100 degrees outside? So they say, right? So we never, no, you knew a year ago when I booked it? Oh. So thank you guys so much for coming to the 3rd annual Celebration of Women Sisterhood Session Summit. So normally it's in a conference type style, but if you guys follow me on Facebook or any type of the social media avenues, you will see us doing the sisterhood sessions, smaller, intimate, at my home, different type of venues. So I thought it would be a great idea to use that same theme as the sisterhood session. So look at the beautiful sisterhood session for the panel. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Love it. And so first I thought, just to get it going, this is a beach ball. I'm gonna toss the beach ball just a couple times, just to break the ice. So wherever you catch it, and your hand lands on whatever's on there, you need to answer that question, okay? So I'm gonna toss. Don't get discouraged. It's okay. It's a safe place. Get a safe place. No need to. It's okay. It's okay. So I know my girl Emmy back here. She is a trooper. So I'll go ahead and toss it to her. Go ahead.
It says, well, my hand's in the wrong place.
Your right hand.
Right, my right hand. The most fingers are on where were best job you ever had and why.
Quickly, oh, we got it.
The best job I ever had
was is owning my own business or making extra strides to become 100% entrepreneur. And why is because I'm a rebel and I like being free. I like doing what I want to do when I want to do it, how I want to do it.
What motivates you? I am motivated by, I think, my family. You know, wanting to do good and be the best I can be for them, and to hopefully then make the world a better place.
I'm glad she said her family, because I'm my mother, so that helps. So that was just a little icebreaker. We'll be throwing the ball around throughout the program so that everyone gets a chance, or maybe 2 or 3 chances, okay? But now I just would like, before we get started with lunch, and as we get started with lunch, we're still going to progress through the program, but I will just give you a snippet of what Real Women Revealed is about, just in case some of you may not know. Real Women Revealed was started officially as an LLC in 2011, 5 years ago. Was that 5 years ago, right?
6.
Well, it was September of 2011, so. It's a women's support empowerment organization and reality talk show. And it was really started because I used to have a lot of events at my home, and then after everyone would leave, it'll be 4 or 5 people left, and then we would really start talking. So we would talk about a lot of deep things, women's issues, relationships, kids, family, what have you. So I just thought if we were getting so much out of it, us few that was left, or the issues that we had, it couldn't just be us. So I figured we needed to make it a bigger avenue where women can, you know, share their stories, and we can be in a safe place and just talk, because lots of times we're going through the same issues, or we have friends or sisters or family that are going through the same issues, no matter what our education level is, our financial status, whatever. Some of the things as women, we can all relate, no matter what demographic we come from. So that's a little bit about Real Women Revealed. You can follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Please use the hashtags today, RWR or Sisterhood Session. And so that's a little bit about Real Women Revealed. Also with House of Miracles, it's our nonprofit organization. My husband's outside and they're still tackling the banner. That's the guys. 3 guys have been doing the banner for about an hour and a half. So that's why we're in here. That's just real. But House of Miracles is a nonprofit organization My husband is the director, Xavier Jenkins. He's a professional family counselor and drug addiction counselor. And it is a transitional facility for individuals, adults in the early stages of recovery. And I would like to acknowledge 2 of our residents that are there that have graduated, moved on, and started their life. Amber Jones, who just want to stand up or wave, say hi. And Amber received last year at the 2nd annual the Celebration of Women Honoree. And then Christina, make a wave. So those are some of our success stories. But now I just want to go ahead and let us just have a prayer before we get our lunch started and get started with the session. And I can bring the mic to you. My mom is going to say prayer for us. I know she's not shy, because she's always at church doing something. You want to come up here and stand up and say it? They can't take a picture. The video guy can't see your English. You can bring your cheat sheet.
Would everyone bow their heads? Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you will be our guest as we come before you and give thanks for your blessing, for blessing us this day. We ask that you would bless our food, that we are about to receive for the nourishment of our bodies in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Amen.
She really prayed longer than that. That was great, Mom. Thank you so much. We were hoping that, I know Mayor Stanton, he stopped by last year, came and said some really great words. So he did check in and say he had an abundance of stuff on his schedule. So he still may drop in. Unfortunately, he's not here right now, but he may stop in. But I would like to go ahead and bring up Tamara Floyd so she can give our welcome. And then we'll just keep going with our program. Tamara.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope everyone is doing well. Half of my welcome was already said, but I'm just going to reiterate a couple of things. Thank you so much for joining us for the 3rd annual Celebration of Women. And definitely we want you to enjoy the summit. We do have our phenomenal women and all of our women and the community and the great works that they do that are on our panel. So thank you all for being here. And also we have our wonderful vendors that are out on the patio. So I want to thank all of our vendors for being here, and definitely you can do some great shopping because it is all about us and we do like to shop. So definitely get some good information there. And of course, I'd like to thank Nicholes Cafe for having us here today. So thank you. I'm sure they hear me. So thank you to Nicholes. And once again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules today. And thank you so much for being here. And welcome and enjoy.
If you could go any place in the world, where would it be? That's easy because I just did my DNA test and it said that I was 62% Moroccan, so Morocco would be my place.
If you could have any job in the world, what would it be? Oh gosh, I don't know. Someone that travels the world and looks at all the best resorts.
Are you living it? If no, why not? Well, those that know me know that my passion is enriching lives for seniors. I want to be synonymous. When you think of Diana Gregory, what do you think of? First word is seniors. So I am actually living my life on purpose. That's my life's assignment. And I'm just so happy to be blessed to do that.
If you could have any job in the world, what would it be? So I'm going to stand up and answer this. If I could have any job in the world, my job would be to be a philanthropist, because I am very passionate about giving back to people, and I really am passionate about women and girls. And so investing in, luckily we do this through 100 Black Women, education, economic empowerment, health, but really helping young women understand who they are, and Black women understand the power of being Black. and not just Black in this space, but Black in this nation. And so that's something that I feel really passionate about. I'm Charlene Tarver.
What's your passion? So first of all, my name is Desiree Hart. My passion, just like all of you women, is to inspire young ladies to be their best, to not to identify who they are by what people by how people try and tell them who they are, but to inspire themselves by understanding their life and the beauty of life and the divine destination that God has set forth for them to become, and that they can achieve whatever they set their sights on, and just to live and love life. That's what I'm most passionate about. Helping young ladies. I'm a mom of 4 daughters, and I continuously embed that they are not who people say they are, and that they can always achieve their goals as long as they have motivation, determination, and passion behind it.
So the question is, if you were a appliance, what would you be? An appliance? Are you kidding me? Well, maybe I would be a crock pot. No, I'm joking. No. You hear me? I
Don't be cooking all day.
I never really even thought about that. What is? Oh, you know what I want to be? I want to be that mixer that everybody loves. What's that really big? The KitchenAid mixer. Yes, because why? Because I will be able to
Mix it up.
well, I will be able to create beautiful, wonderful, nutritious meals, and I also bring together beautiful, lovely, divine colors that will be shared in the kitchen of fellowship. And incredible people. Thank you very much. I'm so excited.
What motivates me? Well, I used to believe that there was a God, and then I believed that there was no God, and I believed that there was a God. And I kind of went back and forth after my dad passed away. But I believe there is a God. And he motivates me because he shows me signs every day, new wonders, new. I looked up in the sky the other night and I said, beautiful stars, you shine so bright, beautiful. You're the reason why I know that God exists. You don't change, you don't ever change, you always stay the same. And that's what motivates me.
Who's my role model? I would say my role model is my mother. Growing up, my mom, she was a single mom. Then she married back my father again, and then they divorced again. So I guess her strength that she's exemplified throughout the years. I'm originally from Florida. But the strength that she exemplified throughout the years showed me that no matter what age, my mom went back to school when she was in her 40s to get her bachelor's in fashion design. Even though she held down 2 jobs, was a full-time seamstress and going to school full-time. So everything that I've seen her do while I was going to school is just her strength, her tenacity, just to face life. That's what encouraged me to keep going and to do the work that I do. So, also, I'm representing Miss Scottsdale plus Arizona 2017.
If you could go any place in the world, where it would be, I guess any all-inclusive resort where I can just lay on the beach and relax with it.
We're going to keep going with the program. I would like to bring up Alexandria, Alex from Alexandria Toys for Joy. And yeah, open up. Thank you. Alex is not shy. Alex is my niece. I will let Alex tell her story and her mission and the business that she has started. And Real Reveal supports Alex 100%. Some of you guys that gave to the toy drive in December, thank you so much that came over. We really, really appreciate it. But for now, I will let Alex tell her story.
Right. Okay. My name is Alexandria, and I started the organization Alexandria's Toys for Joy. When I was 6 years old, I was diagnosed with a cancer called rhabdomyosarcoma. And I had it for 3 years, and I was in and out of hospitals. My parents couldn't always be there with me, so I relied on my toys to keep me company when I was alone. Now I've been in remission for 3 years, and some kids don't have toys like I did. So I want to give them some, and I need your help to give kids in the hospital toys who need them.
We decided every quarter we would collect toys. So December, for that we collected toys. They took them to Phoenix Children's Hospital. That's where Alex stayed. So that's where she would like to donate the toys. So I'll be posting if you guys would like to donate. I believe the next donation drop will be like April 1st. And then we're back in like July, and always for December. But it wasn't just about giving for Christmas or the holiday season. It was all year round because, as Alex said, they needed all year round. And where did you go? Did you win a trip? Did you get anything like that? Where'd you go?
I went to Disney World. Give the Kids the World Foundation took me to Disney World.
Special you want to tell them about cancer So how long have you been in remission?
I've been in remission for 3 years.
Right. So again, if you guys would like to donate toys, you can find Alex on Facebook, social media, Alexandria Toys for Joy. So just like the page and you'll stay abreast of when we'll be doing the donation drop. So thank you so much, Alex. Let me clap one more time for Alex. So we are going to go ahead and get going in our sisterhood session. And again, I just really want to thank the panel again. Everybody's so busy, and if you read their bios, you know they are busy. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to fellowship and sisterhood with us. That's really important that you would even carve out the time with your schedule to come here. So thank you so much. That's right. So I am going to start off our first discussion, dialogue, sisterhood session with an appropriate question for sisterhood. And I thought this person would be perfect to answer a sisterhood question. Dr. Ann. Dr. Ann, what concerns you most about sisterhood? And what do you appreciate about sisterhood? What concerns you most about sisterhood, and what do you appreciate about sisterhood?
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies. Good afternoon. And I'm glad to see sisters in the room, mothers and young girls and ladies too, and my sisters of all nationalities here with me. What concerns me most about sisterhood is our disingenuous nature. You know, we give each other hugs and high fives and compliments, and then 30 seconds later, we're like, oh, really? You know, let's keep it real. We know we talk about each other all the time. If we have a nice weave, a bad weave, or good weave, or ponytail, or natural, or class, or whatever, and you get this skirt, and this shoe, and this outfit. We do us because we look good to ourselves. We don't have to get your approval. But we don't need you to be phony about it. You know, if you don't want to hug, don't hug. You want to shake a hand, reach it. Stretch out your hand. We don't want to invade your space, but let's stop being disingenuous. And that, I don't want to take a long time to explain what that is. You're all intelligent. But we are disingenuous with one another. We have, in the disingenuousness is easy identified because if you have a sister friend in here, and this is what I like about some sisters, they treat you the same every time they see you. There's always love, smiles, and hugs. Ain't nobody trying to snatch you and ask you for no money or borrow anything, fill your shoes. You know, it doesn't cost anything to say hello. Why some sisters can't even smile when they see one another? You know, if you got on a St. John suit, say right on. If you got on a Kmart skirt and Penny's blouse, say right on. It doesn't matter what you got on. That's why I was worried about what I was going to wear today. Sure, I could have come here in my red suit, my stilettos, and sashayed in here and sling my sage bush. This is what I call my sage bush, okay? But just keep it real. Don't hug me if you don't want to hug me. Don't speak if you don't want to speak. I won't speak to you next time. Let's give the love and be real with it, okay? Can I get 3 snaps on it? What we need to do to what I do appreciate about sister, thanks for reminding me. What I preach about sisterhood is that the sisters that can, and this is what does not happen in my book. A lot of us in here, we give. We were just talking about this. Oh, we're draining. We have husbands pulling on us. They want us to be, what do they call it, bedroom acrobatics? They want you to be Tyra Banks in the daytime. They want you to be Haley after 6. And in the morning, they want you to be, what's the woman's name? Martha Stewart. We can't do it all. You know, this is what you see, this is what you get. But be real. Can I ask you a question? Okay. I got so much to say about y'all. My most important thing, what I like, is that some of you are the same every time I see you. And I have to do a couple shout outs in here. Ericka Nicholes, I love you. Because you always have a pleasant smile on your face. You're always welcoming and embracing. Diana Gregory, you always have a pleasant smile. You're always welcoming and embracing. And my girl over there that can only wear Ruby Woo like I do, Chanel Powe, I love you. You know, you gotta take a page out of these women's books and let's just say hello, I love you, and keep it going. That's all I want is a hello. And if you think that something else can be resourceful within one of us, ask for a business card. Because the last thing I'm gonna say is, what separates us is that you say, oh, that's Ann Hart, or that's Charlene Tarver, or da-da-da-da. I don't want to be known as Ann Hart or Dr. Hart. Get to know me. Let's go have a hot dog at Circle K. We don't have to spend $50 at Seasons 52, but let's spend some time with one another because all these women in here, I want to get to know you. I want to come to your house. I want to come to your house. When we see each other, we can act like we got some love up in here. Thank you.
I would like to move on to Miss Kenja and ask her, you guys seen her bio, read her bio. I wanted to ask you some of the factors or people that pushed you to your educational goals.
Thank you for that question, because one of the most important people in pushing me towards education was my grandmother. On my mom's side is black, my dad's side is white. The white side of my family, I think my dad was the first to get a college degree on his side. On the black side of my family, my grandma was the first in her family to get a college degree, and she was manic depressive schizophrenic. Super intelligent woman, you know, incredibly dynamic, incredibly talented, but she also had this debilitating mental illness. And so when she was sane, she was on the ball and on the go all the time. And when she was insane, you could just see a total transformation. And all of that intelligence went somewhere like the movie A Beautiful Mind. It just went someplace else that wasn't grounded in reality. But she really pressed education to us because I think she knew how hard it was to come by. And her mother, before her, was a domestic. She cleaned houses because that's what was available for a black woman of that generation. My grandmother was able to become a school teacher. She was an incredible writer, excellent writer. And she would always make sure that we pronounced our words correctly. She wanted us to see the White House. She wanted us to go to Broadway. She wanted us to have all these cultural experiences that she couldn't have as a black woman growing up in the 20s and 30s and 1940s. My grandparents were the first couple to move into an all-white neighborhood. So they integrated a section of Washington, D.C., which had previously been entirely white, entirely segregated. So they faced certain challenges being in that part of the city. And my grandfather, God bless his heart, stayed married to my crazy grandmother for, oh boy, about 60 years by the time they passed away. And the two of them just showed such dedication to each other. And I knew that to fulfill her potential, I had to go on and continue with my education. Plus I was a nerd, so I liked going to school. That's how I ended up going to Princeton as an undergraduate. I just like going to school and I like learning.
I want to pose that question to Kenja. You guys see her bio in education. And also I want to pose this to the audience. I used to work at University of Phoenix, and when we go to the graduation, of course you have your associates, bachelor's, master's. Every time that the graduation came for PhD, it was about 10 women. It was a small group, but it was always women. And so, we would see like, well, wow, are women just leaving men in the dust, for lack of a better word? Does anyone else kind of see that the dynamic of women in education, or the panel can answer that? Yeah.
I would like to, yeah. So one thing that I've observed over the years is, yes, women are leaving men, I don't want to say in the dust, but we are definitely outpacing men. And for the past 50 years, so if you go back to the late 60s, about 15% of the US population is getting a bachelor's degree, right? So that's about 13% of women, about 16% of men. The last time we were neck and neck, 50-50, was in like the 1990s, like 89, 90. That was the last time it was 50-50 between men and women. And now about 30% of men and almost 39-40% of women under the age of 30 are getting a bachelor's degree. And I believe that it's for economic prosperity reasons. So I believe that women believe that they will get ahead once they get educated. But there's something else that's really important for us to know, and this is why voting is important. Come on. This is why voting is important, is because women's pay has not kept pace. Right. And so even though we're becoming more educated, we are still not getting equal pay. And what's really important is a recent study that came out with professors from Pennsylvania, Cornell, another University in Jerusalem. They all collaborated on this study, and they looked at U.S. Census data from the 60s to that same time period, 60s to now. And what they noticed was that women are getting into more jobs that men traditionally held. And so the pay disparity isn't because women are going for jobs that naturally pay less, like social work or like teaching or something. They're getting into male-dominated fields, but what happens is that some of these fields, when they become female-dominated, the pay drops. Wow. And that is why we have to vote in order for people to come into our Congress who are willing to say, yes, women deserve equal pay. The country of Iceland, just in March on International Women's Day, said, we're passing legislation that every corporation that hires men and women, every company, large and small, has to prove that they are paying men and women equal pay for the same work. So, yes, get educated, advance, be aggressive, be smart, do what you're doing, but you also have to vote so that our pay disparity can be balanced.
I'm driving Councilwoman Laura Pastoral, Vice Mayor, because I was coming to her next. I was coming. No, go ahead. I want you to answer that, and I have it just leads into what I want to say.
So what I would also say, I look at it in two different perspectives. One is that men are still in power. What I mean by that, if you look at Congress and Senate, who are determining our policies and rules. So we really need to look at grooming women to take on the risk of running for office and take on the vulnerability when you run for office, and you may not make it the first time, but you gear yourself back up and go again, but also be able to raise that money to compete with the men for the office. And that's what we really, for the future, what we, and there are programs there now, but to understand what happens in politics and how nasty and dirty they go after women. There's a huge bias, and you can see it in the presidential, of what happened. And we were all, the day after, in shock of what happened. We thought we had it right. But quietly and secretly, they were dropping money in an independent expenditure and working in areas that we would have never thought of working. And so we have to, as women, be empowered to take those risks, know that some of us will be sacrificed in the sense of being able to open up doors for others. And so I look at it that way. The second way I look at it, I also think it's our fault as women in the educational field, because boys learn differently. And we have not changed the systems for our young boys and young men to learn in the way they learn. And I think that's one of the ways why we're accelerating in education, because we can sit patiently, look at the problem, and the reason why I know this is because I'm raising my son, and I see it in him. And I see how at kinder, if I wasn't a mother and advocate of education and figuring it out, my son would have already been labeled to go down a track that there was no return. Still as an active mother, and has to fight the educational system just to get him the services he needs in order to just survive, it drives me crazy, because they don't want to listen to us. And we have to fight and be advocates for our young men and really push to change the systems in the way they're jumping, they're moving, give them a Lego, let them destroy the Lego, let them build it again, but give them those tools that they can use their skills to be able to build also their self-confidence. And so that's just kind of how the reason why I don't blame it on us, but I blame, we're all in the educational field, and so.
And I had a question. I was going to come back. 1 minute. I will go in the audience. I have with Councilwoman Laura Pastor, Vice Mayor. She has a Big Brothers program and Sisters, and I signed up for that, and I've been putting it off because I've been working on this. So I have my interview next week, and we'll be going to the schools reading for an hour. So that's really important. So I appreciate you with that initiative.
Our Vice Mayor for those remarks. I just want to tap on to the fair and equitable pay. FYI, the City of Phoenix, as the City of Phoenix Women's Commissioner, last year we did pass fair and equal pay for the City of Phoenix. Therefore, that means that it started with the city, and they also need to start moving into the private sector. Number two, really quickly, I just want to tap on getting involved in your local communities. Going to your local school district does make a difference. We have to understand that they don't see role models like us every day. And as an elected school board member, I went on a reading tour to all of our schools in our district, and I took a nice black book, images, okay? We have to show our children images, because if they don't see representation of themselves, then they don't feel as if it's achievable. So please find yourself a book and take that book. And you know, I got over 30 letters from students that they sent to my desk at my last board meeting because of the book that I read to them. They got a chance to see a family, and it was also about empowering girls. So don't feel as if you have to belong to a big organization to actually create impact. You need to look within yourself and utilize your skills and talents and take that to your local public school district. Thank you.
One thing that I would like to comment on was the fact that you said something to the effect that we can't make it out on the first try. That implies that if we go out, we run the race, and we automatically are set to lose. Well, we really have a hard time with that. It's because that ideology that we want to provide into we went into the last election. I suffer from bipolar disorder, so just bear with me. I'm trying to get through this.
Okay.
I have an important thing to say, and I'm going to say this as best I can. But we go through life thinking that we have a chance to make a difference in the world. And then when we're faced with the opportunity to make that difference, someone says, no, you're not good enough. You're not going to make it this time. And I look around this room, and I see women who have survived the impossible, faced the unimaginable, done the unachievable. You are achievers, you are amazing, you are conquerors, you are gladiators, you are unstoppable, you are a force to be reckoned with. And if we want to do anything in this life, if we put our arms together, we put our hearts together, we put our minds together, we put ourselves together, we can do this. We don't have to say, oh, we can't do this in this one shot. We can. We got Barack Obama in office in one shot, and we got Adina. Okay? Think that. We can do this, ladies. All right? So I just want to say that, and I want to say that I don't have a lot on my plate. I just have to back this up, or someone's going to tear me a new one. Like you said, you don't know how politics is. I don't have a pot to piss in, basically. I'm one step from homeless, and my mom doesn't let me home tonight. So I don't have a car to drive. I don't have any money in my bank.
It's all right. It's all
But
right.
I have my mind, and I have my heart, and I have friends, and I have people that stood by me when I had nothing. So thank you.
What motivated you to be this positive force in our community? As a woman, I mean, you know.
So it was leading to that.
It was, okay.
I would say my grandparents. Both my grandfathers were miners in mining here in Miami and Superior, and very tough men, very focused men. Neither one had an education. And then who had influence on me was my grandmothers. They were, my father's mother cleaned hotels and homes, and my mom's mother, I called her a business entrepreneur, businesswoman. She ran, my grandfather owned a trailer park in the mining town, and so she basically ran the trailer park and did the books for my grandfather, and was domestic and fixed things all around the trailer park and helped others, or miners, and cooked. So I would say they both, that generation influenced me so much because we spent a lot of time with them, and what the number one thing on another one item at the dinner table was talking about education. And you have to get your education. I'll never forget my grandfather. I had said it at his funeral, and everybody turned to me and looked really shocked. I didn't understand until afterwards. My grandfather said, "You will get an education." And he raised he didn't raise, but he mentored 5 granddaughters. There were no boys. And so he says, each one of you will get an education. You will not depend on a man. You will have independence by putting some money to the side, just in case you marry someone that raises their hand to you. You will be able to grab your kids and you will leave. So that's how the men instilled those values in us. And I was like, what are you talking about? You know, and so when he passed, I said that, and I think everybody went silent at the funeral because they were like, hey, what is Laura thinking? And I realized, you know, they were thinking, what is she up to? Why is she saying that? So I would say it was the men and the women in my life. My grandmother did not go to my father's side. I think the furthest she went was 7th grade because she had to go to work, because she came from a large family, so she had to go to work. And my grandmother on my mom's side was fortunate enough and she made it through high school. So she knew enough to get herself through, but education was the number one thing. I want to go back to also, and it's triggering me in the sense of us outpacing the men in education. I look back at all of us, all the 5 strong women, very independent grandchildren. Each one of us married a man that did not have an education. They all had high school education and then they went into the labor force. So I think that for me, that's very telling. As all of us women all have masters. And we're moving up. I mean, one of my cousins is in charge is the president of a assisted living health care, and there's very few women in that area that's at that level. And so I started studying our patterns, and I was like, how is it that we ended up marrying men that just only had a high school education? We're very strong men, they're all strong, and we're leading the lives that we're leading. And so I just find it very interesting. They're all strong men. They all probably at some point, we can recognize them as their grandfathers or somewhere, but they're all strong men that support us. So that's what motivated me.
Moving right along to Kianey. And you've been in the television industry for over 10 years. And of course, I've done this Women's History Month and women, and it's my daughter. So I am going to give my daughter a shout out that she was nominated for an Emmy in 2015, but she won an Emmy in 2016. So congratulations. You should have brought her an Emmy. So you've been in the television industry for over 10 years, TV producing from Northern California, North Carolina, and now Phoenix. Do you feel you've been treated the same as your fellow TV producers that are male? Do you see an actual difference as a TV producer, even winning an Emmy? And well, that's kind of like a two-part question. So, do you see a difference? You guys do the same job in TV producing, not the pay, just a difference in how they're treated.
I don't, and I think part of that is because if you look in most television newsrooms, most of the people in there are women. Let me rephrase that. Most of the producers who are the people who write the news that you see on television are mostly women. The most men in those fields in television news are executives, so they are executive producers, they are news directors, they are general managers of the TV stations. So you'll see more along the board that those people are men. But in my direct meetings with other TV producers, I feel like we're all treated the same. We're under the same deadlines, we're under the same restraints. I think as women, and then as recently as being a mother, you feel a lot more guilt because it's a demanding industry. You are to be on call at all times, no matter what. Every day I walk in, I'm supposed to be knowledgeable and know what has happened here locally, nationally, in the world, and understand how that affects our community. And so when you go home, you want to just shut it off. Especially seeing some of the things that I see and read and hear. But you can't, you gotta be able to come in and hit the ground running as soon as you get in there and be able to inform people. So I feel like, so I think at that point as a mother, sometimes you just want to shut off the world. And maybe even as a parent for the men, you want to shut off the world and just go into your own little safe space and not worry about everything else, but you end up worrying about everything else and continuing on with all of your other duties and then going back in there the next day and doing it all again.
So let me ask you this, since you phrased this, that do you see more men becoming EP executive producers than women? Is that the same, or is that more, is there a difference in that?
I do see more men becoming executives and things like that. And I think one of the reasons is because a lot of women, and I'll say this in general, don't think that they have the qualifications to move on to the next level. So I have been a TV producer for 10 years. This July. More than whatever. 10 and a half years. And so I have wanted to be an executive producer. That has always been my goal, to become an executive producer. I have applied 3 times to be an executive producer, all turned down for every single time. But after a while I became a little hesitant to apply because I felt that, well, the skills that I have, apparently they're not there. I don't have the skill set that so-and-so has. He is or she is better at this than I am or whatever. But the thing was, they didn't have any better experience than me.
You got it, Kianey!
I didn't think that I had the experience. I didn't think that I had the power, the knowledge. I didn't believe myself enough to think that. And I think that is the reason so many more men are in those positions. For an example, our news director at ABC 15 has been a news director for 3 years. Phoenix is the number 12 market in the country for television news. So you would think that someone who would be a news director who has loads and loads and loads of news experience, he doesn't. He was the web manager for our TV station. And our news director left, and then he applied for the job. And a guy who went from, and he has a great philosophy, and I believe in him, and I believe in the vision that he has for our station and for, but, as a woman, I never would have thought, I've been in TV for 10 years. I have more TV news experience than he does, but I never would have thought to do that.
And I think that's a good point if anybody has any questions on that. I think that's a good point when you said, Kianey, that you start doubting yourself because you don't get the position. And that's something that we probably do, and we can't do that. We gotta have a support system to make sure that we build ourselves up. But I guess if you think about, I've been passed over 3 times, or so-and-so got the job, but then you look at the person that's a web, say he's a web developer, or web or whatever, and then does he have an Emmy? So that's, I would just put the Emmy on the desk when I go in for the interview. Just put it on the desk. Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to jump in there because I think that's so true. We all need to take our metaphorical Emmys into these spaces and sit them on the table. When our president was elected, we were all sad and devastated. I've been saying since then, one silver lining, there's no silver lining, right? But one silver lining that I've taken from it is this man, this individual had absolutely no qualification, no applicable experience. He doesn't know things, you know what I mean? And had no qualms about going forward. So ladies and gentlemen, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be, don't doubt yourself at all. The sky is the limit. I just want to put that out there.
That's right. I know me and Tamara have conversations sometime, and we'll be looking at different things in community. I still want to stay in community. I do Real Women Reveal full time, but I always say, you see something really great, community outreach, director, whatever. So she'll send me something, and I'll say, look at all of this. And she was like, you don't need to have all that. Who's our president? So we joke about that all the time. So that's funny.
And so I looked at some of them and said, I wish I had had that mentorship 20 years ago. So there are so many resources for you. When you look and you're saying, I don't see people who look like me, I would encourage you to pick up Black Enterprise and some of the other African American oriented magazines, and then look at the conferences that are happening. and also reach across the aisle to women and men, because that was one of the themes, is, you know, who do you get your mentorship from? So it doesn't have to exclusively be people who look like you, but it can be women, other women, it can be men, and, you know, begin to develop those relationships so that even if you don't have that empowerment already in your spirit, you're surrounding yourself with people who can empower you and who can help you position yourself. So